Good morning, everybody. I hope everybody can hear me. I'm here to speak as a working carer. I always feel as though it's a rite of passage after almost 18 years of being a working carer. Four ways. I think it sounds like a meal. It's like chicken four ways or something, but I've been a working carer for four ways for four people at different stages and times of their lives. I want to first of all speak about the benefits to my community, which I think is really important, and the benefits for me because we all work for our personal reasons, but for me it's a space where I'm not just Kate's daughter, Ruben's mum, David's daughter, Jack's stepdaughter. I'm me. It's a space where I can have and build confidence, and also look after my own well-being, emotional, physical. Mental health is really important, and I think never more have I been grateful to work than at the moment. The thought of being furloughed with my son for many a week at home filled me with dread back in March, but I lived that and I managed it okay. I'm still living and breathing. I also think it gives me a bit of a sparkle in my eye, and I think that's why I do it because I really love to work. There are challenges. Some of the challenges that you might see from working carers is I sometimes get calls during the day, and I have to create a really good working life balance to make sure that I can fit everything in that I need to do. And the people around me make sure I've had those conversations. I am a carer. They'll see me probably tip up in the morning and say, have you had a cuppa yet? No, I haven't. Somebody will bring me and deposit me a cup of tea or coffee on my desk. That's just so beautiful to be able to have that provided for you. It's about caring for each other. And I think emotionally, occasionally my caring responsibilities do affect me, probably more than I like to admit, but that does happen. I think that's having that really good honest conversation with the people around you, not just your seniors, the people that support you in the workplace. I think that's really important. So I would encourage you to think about how you might support a carer in the workplace facing these kind of challenges. And I want to really talk about how I've benefited from the support in my community, because I think that's really important. Carers can have been a support at various times during my career. They've enabled me to, given me a comparison of financial benefit. They've enabled me to just have that discussion about what does work look like, what am I going to do, where's my career. I'm benefiting from work, and that's not just about finances, that emotional and physical aspect of being out of the caring environment. And also they sat there and did the physical number crunching of what benefits I would receive, and also enabled looking at the people that I care for, what support and assessment they needed to enable me to work. One of the things that they advised me on was the statutory requirements I have as a carer and those protected characteristics that enable me to work. It was really interesting that it's only about 3 months ago that I used that information to challenge a decision that a social worker had said to me, that I needed to reduce my hours and take on less responsibility. About 3 weeks later I got this job, so I guess I didn't take much notice of that, but it was the advice from Carers Camp that enabled me to challenge that in the way that I felt able to and I felt confident to. Kirkwood Hospice have been a huge supporter of me, but alongside my employer as well, was enabled to go to a drop-in session each week at Carers Hospice pre and post bereavement, which has been really crucial in supporting me in the workplace. I was able to have a lunch hour early. I think a lot of the problems that I faced as a working aged carer and a working carer is that a lot of the events to support carers take place during the day, or if they do take place at night, I don't have the carer respite to attend them. So I think Edward Hospice have been central in being able to fit around me. I access their counselling on a weekly basis to enable me to explore my feelings post-treatment and also during caring for someone who's got a life-threatening illness, and working on ways to look after myself as well as the people that I care for. So I'd encourage you to think about signposting to these services and support as early as possible. To be quite frank, the first time I went into Kirkwood Hospice, I said, I'm a fraud. I don't feel like I'm a carer, and I still feel like I'm almost a fraud. So often the people at these discussions being had with actually don't recognise themselves as a carer yet. And I've already had conversation in my current post about 2 or 3 times with people that are starting to realise that their caring responsibilities are affecting their work and need some support. So I guess Carers Trust Mid Yorkshire, they've been with me for the last 13 years. Loyal. I was signposted by my employer at the time, and the reason why I can work added alongside being an unpaid carer is as a result of that I receive. So on a Friday, I can hand over my youngest child, who is almost 18, complex needs, absolute nightmare. I rarely get that opportunity to just switch off. Bath, I can shop, I can meet friends, have a nap, watch TV. I've also used that as a place where I set up PCAN, which is Parent Carers of Children with Additional Needs, to support parent and carers in Kirklees. So I ran that for founder member and also chair of that organisation until I moved on to other things as my child got older. So it's enabled me to continue to have a voice in carers forums to improve the way that carers are talked about, discussed and planned for in the community. On a Friday, I feel like I've been scooped up and looked at. It makes me a cup of tea. I told my son that I can just be Diane, and I think that's really important. Interesting that I was signposted by my employer and I didn't recognise myself as a carer at that time. And it's my pit stop. It enables me to work because it's my pit stop to just take chance to relax. And after a working week, it's just wonderful. I'm surprised they put up with me to 13 years because we've had some interesting events. Helicopters being stuck somewhat in the carer's hair. We've had mattresses brought downstairs in a meltdown. They deal with anything they can, and it really is valued. The other kinds of support really has been enabling me to have carers leave. So my youngest son had a very long but successful battle with cancer. And carers leave enabled me to take that time off to care for him and be in hospital. Historically, I've rarely used carers leave. I think I've only used it on that occasion, but it's been my safety net. So it's been there in the background to enable me to think, actually, if I need it, it's there. I do wonder and I worry that if I didn't have carers leave, I'd be saving annual leave. If I consider that this year so far, I've had 26 meetings for my son. I counted them last night. It took a half day for every time that I had a meeting, which they're normally 2 to 3 hours. I'd be taking nearly 2/3 of my annual leave. So it's really good to have carers leave to support that time off that you have to attend. You have no choice but to attend planning meetings. I had one this afternoon that thankfully was cancelled, but it's juggling that. So I can use my annual leave. I don't have to save it to the end of the year. I don't need a week in hand just in case. So I can have planned breaks just like everybody else and enjoy some time off. I want to just discuss about me now because I think that's really important because it's like the circle of life, isn't it? My career's been affected by funding pressures and having to move from job to job because what I've found is often the support that I needed as a carer was provided from smaller organisations funding isn't always stable. When I saw the post of Director of Operations for the first time, I really wanted it. It was just my bag. Everything screamed out to me to apply. I applied and I got an interview, and within a couple of days of accepting that interview, sadly, my mum approached the last stage of her life. So I had to withdraw my application, but I was just mid-Yorkshire. I had a lovely email just saying they really liked my CV and my experience, and just encouraged me to apply again if the post came up. Before my mum died, my mum wasn't able to talk. She communicated with me with writing and said, Diane, if that job or something similar comes up again, will you go for it? Because I want you to make carers cope like you do and provide the level of support that you do. And really interesting, that job came up. A few weeks after she died, that job came up and was re-advertised, and I applied for it. And nobody was more shocked than me that I got this Director of Operations and Business Development. And I started my career as an unpaid carer. I didn't recognise I was a carer, and sometimes I still don't. I still like to go into that moment of denial. But I've used my experience and the confidence I've built as a carer to build a career where I am going to make a difference to unpaid carers in my community. It's really interesting that we've got the same carer support worker that we've had for the last 13 years on a Friday. Gosh, I don't know how she survived. But she's now a registered manager and I'm now her boss. So that's really interesting turn of events. And just to briefly finish, there are many people that have played their part in support and encouraging me as a working carer. And I find that carers in your organisations like in mine need your support and encouragement. I'm really proud to be an unpaid carer, although I often don't admit it. But I'm passionate about making a difference in an industry that supports carers and champions carers. The support I receive enables me to be a career woman, a successful career woman, I hope. But I'm also a daughter, a stepdaughter, a mum, and I'll forever be the very loving daughter of Kate. Thank you.
Thank you, Diane. Really appreciate you sharing that with us today. I know how difficult that can be, but I think so powerful, and I'm so pleased you're in the role, and I'm really looking forward to working with you moving forward.
Thank you.
Thank you.